Good evening. I'll call this meeting of the Urban Renewal Agency for the City of Salem for Monday, November 28, 2022 to order. If the recorder will please call the roll.
Board Member Stapleton?
I'm here.
Board Member Nishioka?
Here.
Board Member Phillips, absent. Board Member Leung?
Here.
Board Member Gonzalez?
Here.
Board Member Hoy?
Here.
Board Member Nordyke?
Here.
Board Member Varney?
Here.
Chair Hoy?
Here. And if you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilor Stapleton, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Not tonight.
Thank you. I see that we have nobody signed up for public comment for the Urban Renewal Agency, so we have the consent calendar. Councilor Stapleton.
Thank you. I move approval of the consent calendar.
I'll second. Nishioka.
Thank you, Councilor Stapleton. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. The consent calendar consists of a couple things tonight. Items 3.1A, which are the October 10th, 2022 draft Urban Renewal Agency minutes. And item 3.3A, which is a Riverfront Downtown Urban Renewal Capital Improvement Grant Program exception for 455 Court Street Northeast. And that concludes our consent calendar.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Will the recorder please call the roll?
Board Member Stapleton?
Aye.
Board Member Nishioka?
Aye.
Board Member Phillips, absent. Board Member Leung?
Aye.
Board Member Gonzalez?
Aye.
Board Member Hoy?
Aye.
Board Member Nordyke?
Aye.
Board Member Varney?
Aye.
Chair Hoy?
Aye. Motion passes. All right. We have no public hearings, no special orders of business, and no information reports. So the Urban Renewal Agency is adjourned. And I'll call this meeting of the City of Salem City Council for Monday, November 28, 2022 to order. If the recorder will please call the roll.
Councilor Stapleton?
I'm here.
Councilor Nishioka?
I'm here as well.
Councilor Phillips, absent. Councilor Leung?
Here.
Councilor Gonzalez?
Here.
Councilor Hoy?
Here.
Councilor Nordyke?
Here.
Councilor Varney?
I'm here.
Mayor Hoy?
Here. All right. Councilor Stapleton, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Not tonight.
Thank you. It's time for council and city manager comments. I wanted to start by just saying thank you to everybody in Salem, the Downtown Association, everybody that played a part in our holiday parade this weekend on Saturday evening. If you didn't make it, you really missed out. And if you did, you got to see a really wonderful experience in our downtown. Our holiday parade was back, and boy, there were several thousand people downtown, and it was really neat to see and be a part of it. And I just wanted to thank, especially call out Jim Vu from the Main Street Association, who really spearheaded that effort and put in a lot of volunteer hours with a whole bunch of other people to really make that happen. And I just really appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to next year as well. Are there any other councilor comments? Councilor Nordyke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, folks, I too want to mention the Salem Holiday Parade. It was wonderful to see so many peers on council participate in that. And I had a couple folks ask me why Saturday, November 26th. And it was in recognition of Small Business Saturday, which is really important. Our entire city is chock-a-block with amazing small businesses. These are artisans, these are artists, they provide goods and services, incredible food, and so much more. And as a kid who grew up working after school at a downtown small business, I know how financially critical this period is for businesses to stay afloat, to pay their employees, and really pay into the economy. I remember when Jim Vu testified recently, before our council voted unanimously to support this parade, how much of our dollars get reinvested in the local economy when you support local. So if you are in a financial position to make some purchases this holiday season, I really encourage everyone to support local as best they can. So a couple of other comments I want to make. This Friday will be a celebration of life for Lisa Letney. There were 2 articles about Miss Letney in the Salem Reporter, and for good reason, because she is one of our unsung heroes when it comes to addressing homelessness in the city of Salem. Lisa was gone too quickly. I was very fortunate to cross paths with her in my own homeless advocacy and volunteer work. She is often known as the potato lady because one of the many good deeds that she did without asking for anything ever in return was to bake pounds and pounds and pounds of potatoes and hand out warm, hot potatoes to neighbors in need. She brings the kind of compassion and a ferocious spirit that is sorely missed. And so that's why her family is hosting the celebration of life at the Willamette Heritage Center, because I anticipate they will be filling that room with well-wishers from across the Salem area. She touched countless lives, and I encourage my peers to attend. It is this Friday, December 2nd, starting at 5:30 p.m., as I mentioned, at the Willamette Heritage Center. I believe it'll be in the spinning room, the big one upstairs. And one final note, I know that oftentimes somber clothes are the expectation, but in Lisa's case, the family has encouraged folks to show up in colorful clothing, even feather boas specifically. I know we all have those in the back of our closets, right? But I think it speaks to the level of joy and just compassion and selflessness that was Lisa Letney's memory. So I hope you all can join us in participating in this celebration of life and find your own way to give back to our neighbors in need in the holiday season. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilor. Are there any other Councilor comments? Mr. Staley, did you have anything for us this evening?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just briefly, this evening I have just one thing I want to report on, and that's the state of the city in regards to winter storm preparedness. I've asked Mark Bechtel and Gretchen Bennett to be here this evening to offer some reassurance to both council and the community that we are prepared. Well, the storm that we were anticipating earlier in the week, perhaps last week, has moderated somewhat. I still thought it was important that Mark and Gretchen spend a few minutes with you this evening, just providing you with an overview as to how we respond to our serious winter storm events, what our implementation strategy is, how we support people who are living outdoors during this time. So I'm going to ask Mark to come on, and then Gretchen will follow him immediately thereafter for a brief report.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Bechtel.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilors. I'm Mark Bechtel. I'm the Public Works Operations Manager. And this is the time of year that Public Works staff, we spend a lot of time, both during the day and the evenings, poring over weather forecasts, both long range and short term, and making sure that we have the proper preparations for whatever storms may come our way. Weather is fickle here in the Willamette Valley. I think all of us know that. And for every winter storm they say we're going to get, there's just as many that we don't. But this week, we were looking at the possibility of snow. It still exists. This evening and into the early morning hours tonight, there is a slight chance of snow up at about 600 feet elevation, which would be equal to the higher parts of the West or South Salem Hills. But more likely is the chance for black ice on our roadways. And so we would encourage everybody to drive cautiously during the early morning hours. We have had crews out putting down a liquid de-icer as a preemptive measure, but all you need is a couple passing showers, and that decreases the effectiveness of that. So as the week goes on, we're looking at some strong winds on Wednesday with gusts up to 40 miles an hour. And some very blustery wet weather and a chance for rain and snow mix as we approach the weekend. So just everyone needs to be very cautious and careful when they drive, especially going over bridges or any place where water has been pooling that might freeze. We have a good snow fleet. We have trained staff. We have people on standby this week and any week this winter that we need. We have the facilities necessary and a good supply of de-icer and sanding rock. So we're ready. Our crews are trained and ready to go. And we hope the citizens of Salem know that we're out there looking after their safety and their best interests. And then part of that is how cold weather affects our unhoused population.
Mr. Bechtel, could I stop you there for just a moment? And we can maybe ask questions about the first part of your comments, and then we can go on to the homeless situation. I see one hand up from Councilor Nordyke. And also, Councilor, before you begin, if I could just remind everybody else, if you're not actively speaking, could you be sure and put yourself on mute? Because sometimes background noises disrupt the audio for other people. So if you could just double check and make sure you're on mute, that would be fantastic. Go ahead, Councilor Nordyke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate that. Plus, I think Mr. Bechtel needs to catch his breath once in a while. So, yeah, I did actually have some questions in response to the things that you raised. How can folks sign up for emergency alerts? And how can folks learn about a schedule of snow plows or other inclement weather measures for their neighborhood?
In order to sign up for emergency alerts, go onto the city's website and look under a community alert system. And if you sign up to that, you can get community alerts as they're put out by the city. And that can be for any number of either natural or man-made issues or events. And then as far as a schedule, we've been trying to get an interactive map of our snowplow routes, but we don't have that available just yet. Maybe by the end of the winter we can, but we do have the city's snowplow routes available on the internet, and we can make sure that the public can see those. We prioritize arterial streets first, and then the lesser streets. But we only have 8 snowplows. City of Portland has 55. So we don't have quite the assets larger cities have, but we also don't get quite the amount of snow. But we're pretty good at what we do, and we'll try to get things plowed and open for travel.
Thank you, Mr. Bechtel. For the public's benefit, when you're talking about arterials, you're talking about Commercial, Liberty, Market, those kinds of streets, right? The sort of bigger streets.
Correct. All of our major streets.
Great. Thank you. Councilor Stapleton.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Bechtel. I am one of those people who love a good storm. And so I always get excited about this time of year. And last year I had so much fun coming out to visit you all before one of the big nights, the big storms hit. You all were in some of the public works buildings waiting to go out, and I was able to bring you guys donuts and coffee. And it was so fun. I really do hope that you can let me know, because I would love, if it was helpful for the crews, I would love to come out and give them, again, some encouragement for the night, appreciation for the hard work that your crews do for the city, and just really thankful for all the folks in public works and what they're doing out there all the time to keep us safe.
Thank you, Councilor. Your efforts were very much appreciated, and also your efforts during the ice storm were very much appreciated. So thank you on both accounts.
Councilor Varney.
Thank you. It's good to see you, Mr. Bechtel, again. And thank you for the overview. I appreciate it. I was wondering about West Salem, of course. If we're in the middle of a storm event, is there a snowplow that actually gets staged over here? I was just curious.
Yes, if we know exactly when the snow is going to start falling, but we assign about 1/3 of our fleet to West Salem. So we would normally have anywhere from 1 to 3 plows working in West Salem at any given time. We work cooperatively with ODOT, the Oregon Department of Transportation, on the river bridges, the Center and Marion Street bridges, so that if they're not plowing them, we are. If they're not sanding them, we'll be sanding them. And then we work very closely with our police department to monitor what kinds of traffic incidents we may have in the West Salem Hills, as well as the South Salem Hills. The hills is where we focus most of our efforts during storms. And because of safety, that's why we focus in those areas.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Nishioka.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Hoy. Mark, can you tell, so you're talking about plowing or sanding and snow plowing. Does Public Works work with the utility companies when there's outages, or is that something that's separate? And I just wondered if there's some coordination on that.
If individuals call Public Works Dispatch, we can help them route their outage report to the proper utility. Also, whenever a power line or a utility line is caught up in one of our street trees, we work closely with that utility, whether it be PGE or Salem Electric, to clear the lines out of our trees, and then we can get the tree cut up or dealt with and return the road to proper traffic flow.
Great, thank you for that information.
Are there any other questions regarding the road, the infrastructure part of it, before we move on more to the human part of it? All right, Mr. Bechtel, go ahead. Thank you for your patience while we asked you those questions.
Oh no, it's my pleasure. We do also have an unhoused population that is very sensitive to the weather, and Gretchen Bennett would like to talk about how the city works with its partners in that area.
Thank you, everybody. Good evening. This is Gretchen Bennett, liaison on issues related to homelessness. Glad to talk to you tonight. There are no doubt real challenges that can stop people from coming indoors: past trauma, current afflictions, fear of losing locations where they've been. But clearly, emergency shelter, street outreach, and supply distribution are all life-saving measures that we can take and contribute to in cold weather. The city invests financially and also as a partner in the emergency services that are managed by the Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action Agency ARCHES project, which includes the Salem Warming Network, as well as other responses and other inclement weather. In Salem, emergency shelters activate when temperatures are at or below 32 degrees. They're activated tonight, even though actually my weather report right now on my phone suggests it's not going to get quite that cold. Transportation is provided to individuals to those warming shelters. Another thing that happens is street outreach teams work extended hours on these shelter nights, and teams provide basic need supplies and also monitor people for cold-related illnesses. And they can summon emergency medical providers if needed, or, provide some base medical care as well. In addition, there's also just really neat examples of community members stepping up. Councilor Nordyke spoke of that earlier with the potatoes. Another neat example is Nesca Neighborhood Association, I understand, just completed a drive generating over 200 pairs of socks, which is one of the most requested items out there right now. Also, of course, our close partners, Salem Housing Authority, they manage emergency need stations so that our outreach teams and emergency responders can get access to key items like blankets, and that's been really important. I wanted people to know that if they want to check on the status of warming shelter activation, there's a hotline set up where you can learn about openings and locations, and that phone number is 971-304-9211. If people are interested in volunteering, because that strategy it's such a life-saving strategy and so dependent on a volunteer response, volunteers can visit mwvcaa.org and navigate to the ARCHES project, and you'll find information about volunteering. Also, people who want to donate or volunteer, you'll discover a page on the city's webpage. So if you went to the cityofsalem.net, you can type in housing and shelter and navigate to a page about how to help or how to donate. And there's a number of ways to help. So thank you for this chance to give you this update.
Thank you, Gretchen. I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but do you have the information available to you right off at the tip of your hands there on when we activate the warming network? I often get questions about that.
Thanks for asking, Mayor. I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's changed in recent years, so I'm kind of excited about the chance to clarify that, because it used to be that a temperature had to be reached for a length of time, and that's not the case anymore. You know, as you likely know, it's when it's predicted to reach 32 degrees, the team is going to activate, even if that's sandwiched in between a warm day and then a cold day and then a warm day. So that's a strength, a new improvement over the past few years.
That's excellent, because I know that was a source of misunderstanding in the past. So I think that's really understandable. If the forecast is for 32, then we're going to activate that network.
Copy that.
That's great. Councilor Stapleton.
Thank you. And I don't have so much of a question, but I wanted to really encourage people to volunteer for this. You know, this is a key part of this service being available. If we don't have the volunteers, then we can't open up. And I wanted to demystify it a little bit. I've had the chance to volunteer for this. And, you know, I am not a night owl. So I chose the early, you know, you have 3 different shifts through the night and you can choose which one you want to do, or all 3. And so I chose the first one, and it was really great. You know, you're welcoming people in. At the time it was COVID, and so we were taking temperatures, which was just hilarious because life in COVID is funny and crazy. And so we were doing that. We were helping people find a mat. We were helping people get the coffee and treats that were out. And then it was really just, you know, hanging out with the other volunteers. And there's a lot of them there in the evening. You know, I think I served with 8 other people or so, and it's really good conversations, and I didn't have any trouble staying up. So I just wanted to demystify it a little bit and really encourage people to get out there and really get into it and volunteer and become a part of the solution. So thank you, Gretchen, of course, for all of what you're doing and working with all of our partners out there, and of course the volunteers that are out tonight that, you know, serving our community in that way.
Thank you, Councilor, for your reminder to volunteer. That's excellent. And I think that if you really want to understand the homeless situation at a deeper level, volunteering in one of our warming shelters is an amazing way to do it. And you will have a whole new appreciation for life on the streets. So definitely encourage that. Are there any other questions or comments for Ms. Bennett? Mr. Staley.
Just one thing there before we wrap this up. I hope we have an opportunity at some point to come in and do a more detailed presentation to council on both of these subjects. Just to assure you, Mark ran 2 sessions lasting 2 hours each for coordinating our resources at the city, literally inviting in communication, police, fire, public works personnel, parks personnel, people across the city so that we are coordinated. When an event is called, we are ready to go. So I left that meeting feeling confident and feeling the need that I really wanted to share this information with council. So thank you for giving us that chance this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Staley. We appreciate it. I appreciate the reminder that we're just getting a little snippet, a little taste of the literally hundreds of hours of work that goes behind, you know, into a lot of these things, and that we don't ever actually see. But we are confident with our amazing staff that work is getting done, and so we're just highlighting it here. But in no way are we intending to give a comprehensive report. But we would love to have that again at some point. Councilor Leung.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to once again thank Ms. Bennett for the amount of work that she has done, especially when trying to address our homeless crisis that we are still, you know, going through within our communities. It's not just happening in any random part of Salem; it's all of Salem, whether it's West Salem, North Salem, South Salem. We're seeing large pockets of community members who unfortunately are finding themselves unhoused. And we see them like when we drive, whether it's during the day, whether it's in the middle of the night. Over by Condeteroy, there was an elderly gentleman who was there every night for a few months, and I haven't seen him now in a few weeks. So hopefully he was able to be housed or be in a shelter where he is safe. I haven't seen him, I haven't heard anything, but I'm hopeful for him. And there was another individual that I've talked with Ms. Bennett about repeatedly, and I believe with several other houseless advocates. And this individual, when I first noticed him, he was walking upright at that time, and then the last few times I saw him, he was pretty much hunched over to the extent where he couldn't even stand up straight, and he had to be no older than like 30 or 40 years old. And unfortunately, his clothes was already falling off on him. And the one time I happened to see him, and I had called for some contacts to try and provide him with support, his entire buttocks unfortunately was exposed, and it was purple. So, I mean, again, this is just a small snippet of the types of experiences people who are unsheltered may go through. People may be living on couch surfing, so living with people that they know, but they don't have a place of their own. They could be living in their cars. They could be living in a shelter, whether it is a domestic violence shelter. They could be living in UGM. They could be living in Samoka House, or they could even be at the night shelter, for example, that Linnell Wilcox and her crew is responsible for Safe Sleep. And there's a lot of programs I know that the city is trying to do, as well as trying to get additional funding and support from the county and state and federal. And this is not something that we could do alone. But I am, again, appreciative of these reports and updates and what we are trying to do to address the housing crisis. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Nordijk.
Thank you so much. Ms. Bennett, you mentioned emergency need stations. Can you tell me a little bit more what those are exactly, and how those are accessed by first responders?
Thank you. There's 2 locations in the city of Salem that the Salem Housing Authority stocks and organizes. They're in receipt of donations from the community, things like blankets, particular supplies that could be necessary for life sustaining and being on the streets. And then at any time, our emergency responders can get in and access those. So if let's say an officer is on the street and working with someone and sees a need, they can run down and pick up items and deliver those items to those individuals. So it's just a very practical way that our people are able to get supplies to people in need quickly.
Excellent. The only other thing I want to add was just definitely a ditto to what Councilor Stapleton is saying. Volunteering at a warming shelter, and as the mayor mentioned, I highly recommend it. I have volunteered at 3 different shelters in town. They're all different. They all have their own culture. They all reach out. Some have regulars who come back every so often, and they can actually be very heartwarming in their own way. I remember one time we had a gentleman who came in and he couldn't wait to tell the staff that he had just gotten a job at a fast food restaurant that day. And that was a huge cause for celebration for him because he had people to cheer for him and say, way to go. That is such a step in the right direction. So if you sign up for a shift, you will have experiences like that. And so I can't recommend it highly enough. And so I echo the comments by my peers. Definitely recommend it. And the other comment I would make is I definitely encourage the city, keep pushing out those notifications online. I saw that you shared the Arches warming shelter activation. Thank you. I know that a lot of folks access that information online, and a lot of homeless advocates and their Facebook groups, that's how they put the word out on where these shelters are, who's open, who's taking people, and so on. So I would definitely encourage to keep that up. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Are there any other questions or comments for Ms. Bennett? All right, thank you so much for this update. We really appreciate it. And with that, we will go on to proclamations, and we have a few of them tonight. So we will start with Giving Tuesday, and I will ask Jane Downing, the Executive Director of the Center for Hope and Safety, to turn her camera on to receive this proclamation, and I'll go ahead and read it. Welcome, Jane. So, whereas Giving Tuesday was established as a national day of giving on the Tuesday following Thanksgiving, and whereas Giving Tuesday is a celebration of philanthropy and volunteerism where people give whatever they have, whatever they are able to give, and whereas Giving Tuesday is a day where people work together to share commitments, rally for causes, build a stronger community, and think about others. And whereas it is fitting and proper to on Giving Tuesday and on every day to recognize the tremendous impact of philanthropy, volunteerism, and community service in the city of Salem, Oregon. And whereas Giving Tuesday is an opportunity to encourage people to serve others throughout this holiday season as well as other times of the year. And now, therefore, I, Chris Hoy, Mayor of the City of Salem, do hereby proclaim November 29th, 2022 as Giving Tuesday and encourage the community to join together and give back in any way that is personally meaningful. Dated this 28th day of November 2022. And, you know, we were talking about who should receive this proclamation, and there are so many groups and good and amazing causes in the city of Salem, and it was hard to pick just one. But I wanted, frankly, to highlight the Center for Hope and Safety because it is a cause that is near and dear to my heart, and that is survivors of domestic and sexual violence who are served by the amazing people at Center for Hope and Safety. So I invited Jane, and I would like to just give you the floor, Jane, to say a few words if you'd like to.
Thank you so much, Mayor Hoy, City Council members, city staff, and members of the community. Jane Downing, Center for Hope and Safety, and we're honored to be selected. We are just one of the many nonprofits in town that benefit from an incredible city that is so supportive of the work that we do. And you heard all about the things that Gretchen was talking about and the programs that are serving the community. And we are one of those. And we serve victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, and human trafficking in Marion and Polk counties. And last year, just to give you some idea, we had over 39,000 contacts to our program. And thanks to the addition of a new shelter, the Mosaic property on Portland Road, we actually tripled the number of nights of shelter that we were able to provide to survivors. And so we have just had an amazing year of being able to serve people. We are starting our construction of Hope Plaza on Wednesday, finally.
Yay!
It's been a long road, but we are really excited to be starting that. So we are able to do some incredible things, but that's all through the generosity of the city in which we live and community members that make a difference for survivors. These are not going to be the folks you necessarily see on the street corners, although our point in time count is showing that we absolutely are seeing a lot more survivors living on the street. And we are doing everything we can to provide for them. And so every time folks give to our nonprofit or another nonprofit, they are making a real difference in the community. And so just want to do a shout out for all the folks that are doing good work. We all partner together. We all work really hard not to, provide the same services. And so we have to depend on each other and support each other in this work. So happy to answer any questions you have, but thank you for letting us highlight a little bit what we do and the great partners we have in the community.
Thank you, Jane, and thank you for your amazing work. I have one question, and that is, if somebody were interested in giving to your organization, how might they go about doing that?
Yeah, it's really simple. There's several different ways. They can come to our office at 605 Center Street and drop something off 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, or we have a secure mailbox they can put something in. They can go to our website at hopeandsafety.org. Just be careful you don't get the New Jersey one. Every once in a while we have that problem, but ours is just hopeandsafety.org. We were there first. And we have a donate button there, or folks can mail it into our office, whatever works for them. We're just happy to be able to, hopefully make it easy for them.
Thank you. And I know that even if you don't have a ton of money to give, not everybody does, but you do recurring payments. You could do $5 a month, $10 a month. I know that that's a great option too, and that really adds up over time.
It really does.
Councilor Nishioka.
Thank you, Mayor Hoy. And Ms. Downing, do you have a short list of items that you could accept as donations instead of cash. I would like to hear those.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking, Counselor. Really appreciate that. Ours are probably going to be some of the really basic ones that you hear from other programs. During this time, we really try to not have folks sharing like towels and things like that because of communicable diseases. And so paper towels are a huge one. Diapers, the larger sizes, are a huge need for us. Toilet paper, you know, the basics. I always tell people, if you want to see folks get really excited, you know, bring in a thing of Costco toilet paper or paper towels, and we're going to be really happy about that. Umbrellas this time of year, and alarm clocks. Our folks are out looking for employment, and getting up on time is a really important thing for them, for the jobs they already have or the ones they're looking for. So those are some of the real basic ones that we have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Counselor. And thank you, Jane, for coming down. We really appreciate you being on the Zoom and highlighting this really important cause and helping us highlight all the causes that are available to folks. So thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all your support.
You bet. And next, I would like to call up Angelo Arredondo as we do a proclamation recognizing Human Rights Day. Welcome. Angelo is the chair of Salem's Human Rights Commission, for those who aren't aware. I'll go ahead and read this. Whereas December 10th, 2022 marks the 74th anniversary of the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the General Assembly of the United Nations, and whereas the preamble of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights states, disregard and contempt for human rights have resulted in barbarous acts which have outraged the conscience of mankind, and the advent of a world in which human beings shall enjoy freedom of speech and belief and freedom from fear and want has been proclaimed as the highest aspiration of the common people. And whereas as mayor and as a member of this community, I share in this community's concern as we see our fellow human beings suffer inequity and discrimination, and we work alongside each of you in standing up against bigotry and taking action in support of human rights. Whereas the city of Salem, by definition, the city of peace, supports freedom for all its people and recognizes the need to address issues of racism, poverty, homelessness, discrimination based on religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, and more, while knowing that in our global society, no person is free until all persons are free. And now, therefore, I, Chris Hoy, Mayor of the City of Salem, Oregon, do hereby proclaim December 10th, 2022 as Human Rights Day in Salem and urge all the community support to respect this day as a stepping stone to equity and inclusion for all people of our city and nation and the world. Dated this 28th day of November, 2022. Angelo, thank you so much for being here. Did you have any words that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I want to thank you for joining us during our Transgender Day of Remembrance. That is a annual event that we do each year. Thank you for speaking at that. And just thank you to the council for always supporting the Human Rights Commission. We couldn't have done it without you. And also our support staff, Gretchen Bennett. I've been on the council, on the commission for 4 years, and she's been great. She has, been really helpful for us. I think I am proud to say, in my 4 years on the commission, I think we've gotten a lot of things done. We've gotten, a citywide equity lens completed. We changed our city code, the Human Rights City Code. We have done our annual discrimination survey, which has really helped, I think, everybody just see where we need to work on more things. So, and I really think that survey has helped us towards the better good. And I really hope that the council continues to work with the commission and the new leadership that will be in place for next year. So thank you for all your support.
Thank you, Angelo. And I just want to take a moment and thank you for all of your service. I know you're stepping off of the commission at the end of this year. And, you're right. The commission has done a lot of amazing things recently. And your leadership has been at the center of that. And I really, really appreciate it. And I wish you all the best. And I know all of my colleagues do as you go on to as you work through your college career now. And that's really an exciting time. And we're really excited for you for that. So thank you for your great work and good luck in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. But I do want to say I can't take all the credit. It's the commission. The commission,
Absolutely.
all of our great volunteers have really, they really care about this work. So I do want to thank the commission as a whole as well.
Absolutely. And you're here representing them tonight, and we appreciate you and all of them. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
And now I would like to call forward Patty Tipton. So Patty has been a neighborhood leader in the Lansing neighborhood for literally decades. And this is sort of a bittersweet moment because Patty is stepping down as the chair of Lansing, and also Lansing is merging now with NOLA, and so it will emerge into another neighborhood association. But I wanted to make sure that we didn't let this moment pass without thanking Patty for her dedication to the city. Neighborhood associations are so important. They're one of our primary links to the communities, council members. It's where we get a chance to talk and hear from the neighbors, hear from leaders, and really have our finger on the pulse of what's going on around in our wards and around the city. And Patty, you've been at the center of that in Lansing for literally decades. And I thank you so much for all of your work. And I want to read this proclamation. Whereas Patty Tipton has served the Lansing Neighborhood Association for more than 20 years, and whereas Patty has built a solid foundation for neighbor-to-neighbor engagement, has advocated for neighbors, and whereas Patty's commitment to her neighbors and her strength and conviction in what neighbors can achieve together is tangible at Lansing Park, and whereas Patty has successfully facilitated a path forward for Lansing Neighborhood Association's future within the North Lancaster Neighborhood Association, and whereas it is fitting and proper on December 10th, 2022, to recognize this longstanding service and join together to plant a tree in Patty's honor at Lansing Park in Salem, Oregon. And now, therefore, I, Chris Hoy, Mayor of the City of Salem, do hereby proclaim December 10th, 2022 as Patty Tipton Day, and encourage our community to join together in service of our neighbors in Patty's honor. And we will be doing a tree planting. Council, if I can look at my calendar, it's at 11 a.m. in Lansing Park. It would be wonderful if as many of you as possible could be there to help plant that tree. Patty, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I'm kind of speechless. I do want to say thank you for recognizing the years of work. But I would like to also mention, it wasn't just me. I had a really good partner until she passed away in 2019, Virginia Barker.
Yeah.
And between her and I, we accomplished a lot of things with Washington School Baptist Church and Waldo School, as well as the two parks. I will say that we planted over 70 trees in the park in the last 20 years. And all the equipment that is in Lansing Park was through grant money, through Salem Parks Foundation and neighbors and other organizations. So I just want to say it wasn't just me. I had a lot of encouragement with a lot of good people in this neighborhood, and we all wanted to make Lansing a better neighborhood. And I told them at the meeting one time after we renamed it Lansing Park that my greatest goal and my greatest blessing was driving by Lansing Park and seeing children playing on the playground, adults sitting on the park benches, people walking their dogs and riding bikes through the park. And the light that we bought for the park made it feel safer. And so I think all the effort through the years has been a positive thing, but I don't want to take the whole credit. I really don't feel like I can, because you can't do it without your neighbors. So that's what I want to make sure you know.
Thank you, Patty. And we sure know it's a group effort, but we want to also call out your leadership and your commitment over these past 20 years and 20 plus years. So we know it's a group effort, but we really appreciate all of you that you've done. And I look forward to seeing you on the 10th. We'll be out there planting that tree.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Congratulations on being mayor.
Thank you, Patty. Have a nice evening. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Varney.
Yes, thank you. I just thought I'd sneak in right here. Planting a tree is so appropriate. And hi, Patty. I just wanted to say thank you for all your years of service on the Salem Parks and Recreation Advisory Board as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for recognizing that, Councilor. I appreciate it. Thanks, Patty. All right, and now we have one more proclamation that I actually presented in person recently, but I wanted to do it at this public meeting as well. So I would like to call forward Coach Juan Llamas from McKay High School. He is the head soccer coach there, and his team recently won the state championship in boys soccer. And it was so exciting last Friday, a week ago Friday, I think it was, to be able to be over at McKay and to present this in person. And I just wanted to call it out here as well and give the coach a chance to say something if he'd like. So I'm just going to go ahead and read this again, and then we'll go from there. Whereas McKay High School is home of the Royal Scots and Enfield's a boys soccer team, and whereas the Royal Scots boys soccer team was undefeated in its 2022 season, scoring 55 goals and allowing only 4 to be scored against them. Whereas the Royal Scots boys soccer team qualified for the state championship, and whereas the Royal Scots 2022 soccer season culminated in a 17-game winning season at the 5A state championship on Saturday, November 12th, 2022, whereas this is the first state title in the Royal Scots program history, and whereas Coach Juan Llamas credits community support and his players' commitment to their success, whereas the Royal Scots boys soccer team is the pride of McKay High School, the entire Salem community, and the state of Oregon. And now, therefore, I, Chris Hoy, Mayor of the City of Salem, do hereby proclaim November 18th, 2022 as Royal Scots Day and encourage our community to join together to honor and celebrate the success of the Royal Scots boys soccer team, dated this 18th day of November 2022. Coach, would you like to say a few words?
I would. First of all, I just want to thank everybody for having me here. And I want to thank you personally for attending our awards night and reading it out. I know it was a big impact to the community, to the boys, to hear, coming from the mayor that this day was dedicated to them. Definitely, it's a good way to repay all their hard work. Yeah, something that you mentioned, lucky for us, we went undefeated. We went 17-0. We were the best state in the whole, the best defense in the whole state of Oregon. We were the only undefeated team in the whole state of Oregon. So it was definitely a fantastic year for us. Lucky for me as a coach, I only had 3 seniors on my team. So pretty much everybody will be coming back. The only one that I'm losing is my 2 goalies. One of them, unfortunately, fractured his shin 7 games into the season, so he wasn't able to play much. But yeah, we'll be definitely bringing back everybody, and I'm super excited for it. But once again, I'm here talking for the team, but it's not just me. I have other coaches that help out as well, and obviously the boys are the ones out there putting in the work, and not only on the field, right? It's as a coach, I expect them to have good attendance, good grades, good behavior, and ultimately they're the ones that that are putting in the work inside the field and outside the field.
Well, that's fantastic, Coach. I played high school sports growing up, and I know that it was had a positive impact on my life, and I know that you're having a positive impact on those boys' lives. And out here in East Salem, we don't always get a lot of recognition and a lot of accolades, and I am so excited that McKay brought this home this year. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh no, definitely. Thank you for having me. And kind of going into a little bit, even on Thursday, me and the boys were actually going to head out to Stevens Middle School and Waldo Middle School and just kind of have them present, what are the requirements in order to play soccer, which obviously is good attendance and good grades. So hopefully that kind of starts a pipeline where kids are motivated to play for McKay.
That's exciting. I'm really glad you're doing that. That is fantastic. That'll be a great experience for all those kids. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming and congratulations once again.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care. And that concludes our proclamations. And so now we are on to public comment. And we have one person signed up for public comment, and that is Jim Shepke on item 6A. Mr. Shepke, you have 3 minutes. Be sure and state your name for the record, please.
Well, thank you, Mayor Hoy and councilors. I'm here tonight, Jim Shepke, Ward 2, and I'm here tonight on behalf of the Marion and Polk Early Learning Hub. And we are here tonight because you have on your agenda the library strategic plan. And the library strategic plan has 5 imperatives, one of which is partnerships. And we are seeking a strong partnership with the Salem Public Library, and that's what I bring to you tonight. The Dolly Parton Imagination Library is a new program. I've wanted to have this in Salem forever because it's been around for a long time. But what it does is it provides a book a month to children from age 0 until they turn 5. They get a book in the mail every month addressed to them. And it's just the greatest early literacy project that you can imagine. And I'm so pleased that the Marion and Polk Early Learning Hub has taken this on. We launched it at the end of July. Mayor Hoy, you were there at our launch at Northgate Park, and we appreciated that. And Councilor Gonzalez was also there with us that day. Later, we were at the Inglewood Forest Festival, and I wanted to recognize Councilor Stapleton, who was there. She was actually signing up kids at that event, and it was just so terrific. So tonight I can tell you that since the end of July, we have signed up over 700 kids, and we can only do 4 zip codes because of funding limitations. It is costly to sign up every child to get books. So we're only able to do 97301 in Salem, and that is the zip code that has the neediest children. So that's where we're starting. And just since, and then we have 3 other zip codes, Kaiser, Falls City, and Independence. And just since the end of July, we've signed up over 700 kids, and about 300 of them come from Kaiser. And that is due to the efforts of the Kaiser Community Library. And we are seeking that same help from the Salem Public Library. They've been reluctant to partner with us because they want us to be doing all the zip codes so they don't have to turn any kids away. But we just don't have the money to do that, and we can't wait. We need Salem Public Library to step up and to help us sign up kids. And that's why I'm here tonight. I'm asking the council to think about how you can encourage the library to begin to do that so we can start signing up kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shepke, and I thank you for acknowledging the counselors who joined you out of Northgate and then at Inglewood. I was at both of those events, and it was really remarkable to see those parents and those kids signing up for books and how the excitement that there was. If you haven't seen that happen, I definitely encourage it. And I definitely will be encouraging staff to figure out a way that we can help partner on this. Councilor Nordyke.
Thank you much. And thank you, Mr. Shepke. I love this idea and would love to see how we can work with the Salem Public Library to explore options. I do have a cost question for you, though. Can you estimate what the cost is per zip code? Or maybe can you tell us what the cost has been for the zip code of 97301 so far?
Well, I actually don't have that number in front of me here, but is there a particular zip code you're interested in?
You know, I would just, if you can give us like a ballpark on what it is to deliver books in any given zip code. Okay. I'm just, if you have that on you, great. If not, we can talk offline.
Okay. It is expensive. So if we were to do all the zip codes in Salem, the cost for 5 years of, again, giving a book every month to every child is about $460,000. And so it is costly. It's actually about $25 a year per child, which you know, is very reasonable, but there's a lot of kids out there that we'd like to sign up. So I need to say that we are going to the legislature in next year to try to get state matching funds for this. And we're hopeful that we might be able to do that. So that'll help. If we can get state matching funds, we can bring on more zip codes. If we can raise more money, we can bring on more zip codes. We are talking to some potential corporate sponsors, and we're working hard to get more money. But you know, until we do, we don't want kids to not take advantage that are in 97301, and that's why we need the library's help right away to do that.
Well, I appreciate your focus on serving the highest need first, and do let me know how I can help. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. And I'm seeing 5 hands up here. Now we're down to 4, but I'm guessing that Mr. Staley is receiving a message through all of those palms he's seeing on the screen. But and when I just want to make sure I understand your ask, Mr. Sheppy. You're not here asking us for money. You're not here asking us for financial support in any kind. You're asking for our help in signing up those kids at the library, but only the kids who live in 97301. Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Nishioka.
Thank you, Mayor Hoy. And that relates to the question that I was going to ask Mr. Shepke. So you're wanting the library to help you sign up kids. Can you explain what that process is so we can understand if there's a great deal of library staff time that's involved, or how quickly it can be done?
Yes, I can. And, you know, there's no one answer to that. It could be done in many ways, but what we're just trying to do is get parents and caregivers to fill out this form. Yeah. And that's all it takes. If a parent or caregiver fills out this little form with basic information, leaves it at the desk of the children's department, we'll come pick them up. We'll input the information to the Dolly Parton Foundation, and the kids will get signed up. So we just need for the library to get these forms filled out. And here's the Spanish one too, in case you were wondering.
We're not really able to see that. Your camera's not focusing on those. It's kind of a blur.
Okay, so yeah, I know. I just want to see that you just see that it's very small.
Yeah.
Great.
But anyway, so you know what the Kaiser Library is doing? They have a story time for kids. After the story time is over, I think they're just asking the parents who would like to sign up for free books. Come see us, and we have the forms, and we can make that happen. Or, you know, it could even be a self-service thing. We could have something in the library that just has these and people could take them. It could say, if you live in 97301, come sign up for free books. It would involve virtually no staff time.
All right, thank you very much. I don't have anything to follow up. Thank you.
Councilor Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, let me tell you a little bit of good and the bad, Jim. I fully supported this program. I was there that day. I signed up people myself. I posted on my Facebook page, people messaging me, we're signing up, and it's really simple to sign up. It's through the Marion Polk Hub website, a couple clicks, age of the kid, mailing address, like a minute. So it's really easy to sign up. But what I can tell you is that I signed up my nephew, and the service has not been consistent. This is where I think we have to be a little careful, because I don't want people confusing what we do and what the public library does and then the foundation does. But the first book came on time. Second book came on time, but it was the same book. So they replicated the same book twice. And then after that, there has been no more books. So just, I want to make sure that, that the program is working as it's supposed to before we, start putting the city of Salem behind it.
Well, I want to follow up on that, because we can go to the Dollywood Foundation and we can find out why that's happening. So can you, if you can send me the name, I really want to follow up on that.
Yeah, no, that's why I want to talk to you, Jim. Thank you for doing that. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilor Stapleton.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. This actually came at a really good time for me. I just got the Climate and Economic Justice Screening Tool from the federal government. It just came out. And I was sharing it with some of my fellow counselors. And in it is the 97301 area. And you have to qualify for two different, in each census block, you have to qualify for two things. And in a lot of this area, one of the things that was a qualifier was low graduation rates. And I was thinking to myself, this is where equity is different from equality, right? When we talk about this, this is a chance for us as a city to really focus in on an area that has been historically underserved, that has struggles in different areas, and really invest in the young people who live there, and really try and help in this one area to kind of get us over that hurdle. And, you know, much like playing sports helps folks with their graduation rates, so does learning how to read, right? Those things are critical to kiddos in their early years of learning. And so I saw this all kind of come together for me, all in one space. You know, your testimony, having served with you over the summer to do the good work of signing up kids, and then this report from the federal government, and just thinking about, you know, our equity statement and the work that we're trying to do as a council. And it's hard to take it from kind of a concept into actual tangible things that we do. And I saw this as an opportunity to do a tangible thing, right? To help invest in the young kids in this area that have greater hurdles to get over in life than some of our other kiddos in the city. And so I wanted to acknowledge that and thank you for your work. And I really hope that we can find a way to support you in your work, whether it's a poster or whether it's on the website, and just different things that we can do. There's so many options that we can support you in. And so I want to take the time to research that and find the ones that are going to work best. So thank you again for your work.
Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Leung.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you, Mr. Shepke, again for coming and joining us today. I have two questions, but I think you sort of answered one of them. You talked about a survey. It's currently only available in English and Spanish.
The sign-up form.
Okay.
The sign-up form is only in English and Spanish, but we'd like to have it in more languages. And I should also say that there's a QR code that takes you directly to the Dolly Parton Foundation. You can sign up online. You can go to the Marion Polk Early Learning Hub and you can sign up online there. So there's many different ways to sign up. We just try to make it as easy as we can. And it would be great to have our form here in some more languages. That's a good suggestion. Thank you.
And of course, and my second question, because you're specifically working in one part of Salem right now, as you want to expand, how have you connected first and foremost with the schools in the area and or the school board? And then the second question, since you have an idea of what the population is, connecting with community-based organizations who might be able to help you continue to recruit and help enroll students.
Well, the Marion and Polk Early Learning Hub is very well connected with all the schools, with all the preschools. They run the Preschool Promise program, which is like Head Start. And we have a steering committee that's actually having a meeting tomorrow that has people from schools, from childcare, that's their job really, is to be the hub of all the early literacy, early childhood education services. And so we are talking to all those communities. Now, you know, with schools, this program ends at age 5. So it's really most important to be working with the preschools.
Thank you. And I mean, one thing to take consideration too, we have some students who are age 5 who are either starting kindergarten or as well. So it'd still be a benefit for those students, even though they are more at the older cusp, because again, you know, when we're talking about, you know, where students, you know, learn to read, it's the earlier, the younger ages, and the older they are, by the time they start learning to read, it makes it more challenging to learn to read. It doesn't mean that they can't, it just makes it a little bit more challenging.
Exactly.
And yeah, and so is the expectation also, is this expectation also then that the Marion Polk Early Learning Hub would be reaching out to community-based organizations or culturally based organizations, or has your group done any of that outreach?
Yeah, that's how we've signed up 700 kids without help from the Salem Public Library. I mean, we are looking for every organization or anybody that can help with this. We're going to do that. I want to put a table out in front of a Latinx grocery store on Lancaster and sign up kids there. That's my big idea.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Barney.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Shepke, for being here. This sounds, after I looked at more information on the program, and it's just, I'm really supportive of the program. It's so important to encourage our children to start reading at an early age. You know, it opens so many more doors. And so in addition to that, if they start reading up there that early, then it just kind of segues right into that quality education model that we have. And putting those pieces together is so important. The question I had was, how are the books chosen?
You know, as a retired librarian, that was my first question: are these good books? Are these great books? And I was pleased to learn that they're terrific. They're always terrific books. There's new books selected every year by a nationwide committee that includes librarians, educators, authors, and the books are on the Dolly Parton website. You can actually go look at the titles. And when I looked at them, I said, this is great. These are all fantastic books, well-chosen books, age-appropriate books in English and Spanish. And we are going to have more bilingual books in the future because the whole state of California has just joined this project, and they insisted that all the books be in English and Spanish for reasons you can understand. And that's going to help Oregon too, to get more books that are in both English and Spanish.
Okay. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I hope it just continues to grow and grow. And maybe another way of getting the word out might be to have some printed bookmarks or something that they could pick up at the library or wherever. Anyway, good luck.
I think we already have those.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, Councilor Hoy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to, since I live in the 97301, I want to say thank you. And I feel great about this, very encouraged. I'm with Jose. If there are any kinks, let's work them out. Yeah. Because I want these kids to see people follow through and their parents too, that we know what we're doing and it works. So thank you so much. And anything I can do to help, let me know. There's a fancy new grocery store right next door to the restaurant out here. So just let me know when you're ready.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Shepke. I don't see any more hands up. So thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
All right. And with that, we will go on to the consent calendar. Councilor Stapleton. That's a mouthful.
Thank you. I move approval of the consent calendar.
I'll second it.
Councilor.
All right, thank you so much. The consent calendar today consists of item 3.1A, the November 14th, 2022 draft city council minutes. Item 3.1B, the November 21st, 2022 draft city council work session minutes. Item 3.3A, 2022 Oregon Fire Service Capacity Grant Program Grant with the Office of the State Fire Marshal. Item 3.3B, Second Amendment to the lease agreement between the City of Salem and the Capital Community Television. And that concludes our consent calendar.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? The recorder will please call the roll.
Councilor Leung?
Aye.
Councilor Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilor Hoy?
Aye.
Councilor Nordyke?
Aye.
Councilor Barney?
Aye.
Councilor Stapleton?
Aye.
Councilor Nishioka?
Aye.
Councilor Phillips absent. Mayor Hoy?
Aye. Motion passes. All right, now we are on to public hearings, item 4A.
The City Council will now conduct a public hearing concerning exemption from competitive bidding process and authorization of an alternative contracting method for an audio-video design, install, and maintenance contract for the city. Individuals testifying must provide their name and address or ward. Individuals are limited to 3 minutes of testimony. No one signed up.
Thank you. Who is our staff person tonight for the presentation? We have Krishna Namburi, our enterprise.
Krishna Namburi, Deputy City Manager. Mayor Hoy, we don't have a formal presentation tonight on this.
All right. What would you like us to consider then in this public hearing? Just the information in the staff report?
Yes, and if you want like kind of a brief summary on that, Tiffany Corbett, Enterprise Services Division Manager, is here, and she can actually briefly talk about that.
Thank you. Yes, I would appreciate a summary.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Council and Mayor, thank you. Also speaking to this, if need be, is Josh Eggleston, the CFO, and he can speak to any particular questions you might have on the contracting process itself. But just in general, this is brought to your attention so that we have a few more opportunities when addressing our audiovisual needs across the city. Right now, our process makes it a little bit cumbersome to do a design build. And we're hopeful that this exemption will allow us to provide a single vendor that will help us design the solution and implement that solution for the various needs. So whether that's boards and commissions or neighborhood associations or any of our conference spaces across the city. That's the goal, and that will help us in the long run to maintain those solutions once we put them in place.
Thank you. And I will ask Josh to come forward and just maybe explain a little bit about process for us. So people, especially our newer counselors who may not be up to speed on what we're doing here, have a real good understanding of what's going on.
Good evening, Josh Eggleston, Chief Financial Officer. So what we're asking for is an exemption from the process so we can do the basically the design build with the same vendor. It complicates things when you have, in particular for this type of work, one vendor do the design and then another vendor do the actual build. They might not work with the same brand, different products, things like that. And then also, if you look at the Exhibit A, we're required to maintain the competition, and that's what we'll do. We'll still do a competitive process.
So could you kind of just summarize what your ask is for us tonight, Josh, please?
All we need is the exemption, and then we'll move forward with a bid process for the design build contractor.
Okay, are there any questions? Councilor Stapleton.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And Josh, thanks for coming tonight. And I guess I'm trying to formulate my question. In the process that we have now, that you're asking for an exemption from, what are the benefits of that? And what are the risks that you take on doing something different, right? Like, what was the goal in doing the original? And what is it, how is it different now? And what are we giving up in order? I understand the benefits, you know, what you're talking about as far as design build, the installation versus the design. I get all that. That makes sense. But what are we giving up?
The only thing I can really think of is that we'd go out for one bid, basically for multiple years. So say a multi-year contractor of record. So you wouldn't be able to take advantage of smaller projects being bid separately. So it'd be one vendor, multiple years, creates that consistency.
Okay, and we do this with other, do we do this with other things in the city?
Yes, that's correct. We've done it with multiple larger construction projects. This is the first time I've seen it on, say, this smaller level, but really the same benefits apply.
Great. And what is there any kind of, protection from, somebody in a worker or somebody on council who knows somebody, right? And we're not going to get into any of that, correct?
So all the purchasing rules still apply. We still do a competitive bid process. It's just for the entirety of the work for that multiple years. So instead of bidding out individual projects, you're bidding out that work as a whole across the city.
Okay, thank you so much for answering my questions.
Are there other
Councilor Stapleton, if I may add to that, especially when it comes to the audio and video solution, the change in technology is so rapid, right? So we want to make sure that we have that consistency with which we are managing all the equipment and the solution, right? And especially with the hybrid mode that we are in, it is more important that we have a long-term solution, and we also are very consistent in how we manage that. So that's kind of what we are going after.
Great, thank you so much.
Councilor Hoy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have a couple of questions. One is there any, I guess, how would I say this? That is it still possible for that work to be done by local providers? Or is this work shopped out of city or out of state, or how does it get done? Who's doing the work?
So we have a competitive bid process. So what happens is we put out a request for proposals, and anyone's welcome to bid on those proposals. It could be local firms, or it could be, the wider area. Anyone who's able to be in the area and to do the work. So we can't dictate where the vendor is located, but anyone's open to bid on the work.
Anyone, anywhere. Is that
yes,
right?
That's correct. If they're able to meet the requirements.
And I thought, Josh, that I heard you say that it was still a competitive process. If it's competitive, why do you need an exemption?
So the exemption piece is for the two parts to be done together. So the design and the build. So in general, what you do for a project is you hire an architect to do the design piece, and then you hire a contractor to do the build. In this case, it makes that extremely complicated, and it causes quite a few delays that we've seen because you have someone design a system and then you do a separate bidding process for the build. But this separate vendor, they use different brands. They're not familiar with that process. So when you do it together, you can make sure that you have that consistency for the work being done.
I can appreciate that. I guess my greater concern is just whether or not we can support our local economy with a long-term project like this. So thank you very much. I appreciate you all being here.
Are there other questions for staff? All right, seeing none, does staff have any closing comments or things to summarize for us?
No, not this evening.
So I'll close the public hearing. And then, Mr. Atchison, do we need a motion here?
Sorry about that. Yes, Dan Atchison, City Attorney. Yes, you would just follow the staff recommendation to allow an exemption for the competitive bidding process for the use of the design build contracting method.
Thank you. Councilor Stapleton.
Thank you so much. I move that we allow an exemption from the competitive bidding process and use of a design build contracting method for an audio video design, install, and maintenance contract.
Second.
Discussion?
Sure. I mean, I think, coming into this, all of us had a lot of questions, like, what is this about, and how can we help, and what the problem is. And that's why I appreciate a public hearing. We can talk with staff and really get into the details of things and ask all the questions we have. So I am satisfied with my questions that I had, and I feel confident in the leadership at the city to do the right thing and make sure that the competitive process is honest and good, and we'll get some good work done out of this. And I look forward to seeing it done so we can get back in city chambers and all that great stuff that's happening around the city.
Thank you, councilors. Any further discussion? If the recorder will please call the roll.
Councillor Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councillor Hoy,
Aye.
Councillor Nordyke,
Aye.
Councillor Barney,
Aye.
Councillor Stapleton,
Aye.
Councillor Nishioka,
Aye.
Councillor Phillips, absent. Councillor Leung, Councillor Leung,
Aye.
Mayor Hoy.
Aye. Motion passes. On to item 4B, another public hearing.
The Salem City Council will now conduct a public hearing to consider the petitioner-initiated annexation of territory located at 3821 Ibex Street Northeast for future expansion to Fisher Road Park. The criteria applicable to the decision are at SRC 260.060C. Testimony, arguments, and evidence must be directed towards the applicable criteria or other criteria which the person believes to apply to the decision. Failure to raise an issue prior to the close of the public hearing in person or in writing, or failure to provide statements or evidence with sufficient specificity to provide the parties and the City Council an opportunity to respond to the issue precludes appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals on that issue. A similar failure to raise constitutional issues relating to proposed conditions of approval precludes an action for damages in circuit court. The hearing will begin with a staff presentation. No individuals have signed up to testify. The applicant is limited to 10 minutes, applicable neighborhood association limited to 5 minutes, other interested parties limited to 3 minutes, and the applicant may have up to 5 minutes for rebuttal testimony limited to issues raised during public testimony.
Thank you. I see Ms. Anderson Ogilvie has joined us, as well as Mr. Romanek. I'll turn it over to Ms. Anderson Ogilvie to start.
Great, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Lisa Anderson Ogilvie, your planning administrator. I'm going to present this annexation tonight, so I ask that the staff report, its attachments, and this presentation be entered into the record. The subject property is about 2 acres. It's located directly next to Fisher Road Park. It is a city property. It was purchased in 2020 to expand Fisher Road Park. As you can see here, it's located generally between Fisher Road and Lancaster, just south of Ward Drive. And in this 2022 aerial, you can see it's now a vacant property. It has street access on Ibex. And like I said, it's next to Fisher Road Park. And generally it's surrounded by a mixture of single family and multifamily residential properties. The comprehensive plan designation for the property is parks, open space, and outdoor recreation, as is the park next door. And then there's a combination of multifamily and mixed use designations in the area. And the zoning is county zoning all around except for the park. And it's a combination of single family, multifamily, and urban development zoning. That's what the property is zoned today. And that's generally a single family zoning as well. The proposal is to rezone the property to public amusements for the future park. In order to approve an annexation, the council must find that it meets the approval criteria. Generally, it needs to be consistent with our comprehensive plan and our statewide planning goals. We need to determine that city services can be provided and that the annexation is generally within the public interest. We receive comments from various city departments that city services can be provided. The only public comment received was from Marion County Public Works Department. They stated that vehicular access should not be provided via Ibex Street. It's a narrow, unimproved residential street. Our park staff has commented that pedestrian access will be provided from all 3 streets, which include Ibex, Ibris, and Fisher Road. And as you noted, Rob Romanek is here if you have questions about park access or the future development of the park. The staff recommendation is that the council adopt the annexation order, which would apply the public amusement zoning, would withdraw the territory from the fire district and the sewer and drainage district, and it would approve the annexation. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Mr. Romanek, could you address the issue of access to the park? How will that happen if we don't access it off of Ibex? You're on mute, please, Mr. Romanek. Nope, we still can't hear you.
How about now?
There you go.
Right. Thank you, Mayor. Rob Romack, Parks and Natural Resources Planning Manager with Salem Public Works. Access to the park. Well, go back up a minute. This is an undeveloped park property.
Mr. Romanek, I apologize, but your audio is really cutting out and it's almost impossible to hear you consistently.
Can you hear me now?
Maybe a little bit.
I'll do my best.
Thank you. This is why we need that design build thing going so we can get these audio visual things worked out.
The park, this is an undeveloped park property that is designated in our park system master plan as a future neighborhood park. Our neighborhood parks do not typically have on-site parking. So pedestrian access is the main mode to access the site. And we intend to provide pedestrian access at all points that make any sense. There may be an opportunity to provide some on-street parking on Fisher Road with the development of the park. The city will be required to do street frontage improvements with the development of the site, and that may be an option to provide some on-street parking. But in general, it is a destination that the local neighbors will be walking to.
Thank you, Mr. Romanek. I'm going to try to repeat what I think you said. And basically, it's a neighborhood park, so we don't typically provide parking. So there wouldn't be any issues with access off of Ibex, but there is a potential that we might be able to provide it off of Fisher Road at some point in the future, but there would be some improvements that would be required to do so. Did I get that about right? Awesome. Cool. All right. Are there any other questions for staff? Councilor Stapleton.
Thank you. This is an area, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is an area where we are really lacking in park space and green space. Is that correct, Mr. Romanek?
Generally speaking, Northeast Salem is an area where we have greater parking.
Okay, thank you so much.
Councilor Hoy.
Well, I just know how low we are on housing. Is this property not being used for housing for a reason, or is it?
Prior to the city's purchase of the property, it was a single family residential home. The owners approached the city asking if we would be interested in purchasing the site for a future park expansion. We need additional acreage to serve this portion of the city. So that's why we pursued this acquisition. So it formerly was a residential site, but it wasn't.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Just to kind of repeat that, it was a single family home site before the owners of that single family home approached the city about buying it for dedication to a park. So, Councilor Nishioka.
Thank you, Mayor Hoy. I just wanted to say I think this is great. I know the areas do need more green space, and I love the idea that it will be a pathway to get there so that we can encourage pedestrian and bicycles to access the park. So thank you. I appreciate the work that you've done.
Thank you, Councilor. Are there other questions for staff? Seeing none, does staff have any other closing comments? I'm going to close the public hearing. And Councilor, sorry, is this Councilor Gonzalez, I believe.
Councilor Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilor Gonzalez, and I move move council adopt order number 2022-18.
Second.
Any further discussion? Will the recorder please call the roll?
Councilor Hoy?
Aye.
Councilor Nordyke?
Aye.
Councilor Varney?
Aye.
Councilor Stapleton?
Aye.
Councilor Nishioka?
Aye.
Councilor Phillips, absent. Councilor Leung?
Aye.
Councilor Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mayor Hoy?
Aye, motion passes. And we will go to our third public hearing, item 4C.
The Salem City Council will now conduct a public hearing to consider the petitioner-initiated annexation of territory located at 3880 Mahrt Avenue Southeast and land adjacent. The criteria applicable to the decision are at SRC 260.060C. Testimony, arguments, and evidence must be directed towards the applicable criteria or other criteria which the person believes to apply to the decision. Failure to raise an issue prior to the close of the public hearing in person or in writing, or failure to provide statements or evidence with sufficient specificity to provide the parties and the City Council an opportunity to respond to the issue precludes appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals on that issue. A similar failure to raise constitutional issues relating to proposed conditions of approval precludes an action for damages in circuit court. The hearing will begin with staff presentation. No individuals signed up to testify. The applicant is limited to 10 minutes. The applicable neighborhood association limited to 5 minutes. Other interested parties limited to 3 minutes. The applicant may have up to 5 minutes rebuttal testimony limited to issues raised during public testimony.
Thank you. I see Ms. Anderson-Ogilvie is up for a repeat performance. Ms. Anderson-Ogilvie.
Great, thank you, Mayor and City Council. Lisa Anderson-Ogilvie, your planning administrator. This is also an annexation, but it includes a comprehensive plan change and a zone change for property on Mahrt Avenue Southeast. I'd like to request that the staff report, its attachments, and the presentation be entered into the record. This property is a little less than an acre, and it's located just off Lancaster Drive, south of State Street in Southeast Salem. And you can see from this 2022 aerial, it's currently vacant, and it's located directly behind the AutoZone property. AutoZone is the applicant. Their plan is to expand their existing store onto this property if the annexation is approved. In addition to the subject property, a portion of the Mahrt Avenue right-of-way would be included in this annexation. The property is currently designated single family, shown here on yellow. Mahrt is a combination of single family and multifamily zone land. Everything in red, Lancaster, both sides and kind of deep from the frontage of Lancaster is designated commercial, shown in red. And then, sorry for these crazy colors, there's a combination of commercial zoning in the county, shown by the different pink and red colors. And then again, Mahrt in the county is zoned for single family, multifamily residential. The applicant is requesting a comprehensive plan change to commercial and a concurrent zone change to commercial retail. Planning Commission did have a hearing on that request, and they are recommending approval of the comp plan zone change. And in addition, the council would need to find that the annexation itself meets our comprehensive plan and our statewide planning goals, that city services can be provided, and that the annexation's in the general public interest. We did not receive any public comments on this proposal, and city services can be provided as demonstrated in the staff report. Therefore, the staff is recommending that you adopt the annexation order, which would approve the request to commercial retail zoning, would withdraw it from the fire district, the sewer and drainage district, and the water district, and it would approve the annexation. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson-Ogilvie. Are there questions for staff? All right. Do you have any closing comments you'd like to make? That is the shortest public hearing ever. I'm going to close the public hearing. Oh, are you wanting a question, or are you wanting to make the motion, Councilor Nishioka?
Well, I had a question.
So I'm not going to close the public hearing then. We'll go to questions then.
Maybe I should rephrase. It's not so much a question as I want to say that I really appreciate the presentation, because as I read through this, I liked the color maps. It was easier, more clear to understand. So basically, I'm just thanking Lisa for her explaining it better. That was all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, I will close the public hearing. Councilor Nishioka, do you have a motion?
Yes, I move to adopt order number 2022-17, determining that the proposal meets the applicable criteria, applying city zoning for the territory, and approving withdrawal of the territory from Marion County Fire District Number 1, the suburban East Salem Water District, and East Salem Sewer and Drainage District.
Second.
Any discussion? If The recorder will please call the roll.
Councilor Nordyke,
Aye.
Councilor Barney,
Aye.
Councilor Stapleton,
Aye.
Councilor Nishioka,
Aye.
Councilor Phillips, absent, Councilor Leung,
Aye.
Councilor Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilor Hoy,
Aye.
Mayor Hoy.
Aye, motion passes. All right, and on to item number 5, Councilor Nishioka.
Thank you, Mayor Hoy and councilors. I am making a motion for the mural. So I move to direct staff to determine whether amendments to the Salem Revised Code are necessary to allow public murals on structures other than the wall of a building, and if so, to prepare potential amendments to these types of murals for review by the Salem Public Arts Commission and City Council.
Second.
Councilor, to your motion.
So what has happened, so in the discussion, a mural was proposed for the Maraschino cherry mural was proposed, and the wall that the mural is going to go on had 2 silos in front of it. And so, oh, thank you, Keith. So I will let Keith show this. It'd be much easier to have the visual than me trying to explain it. So I'm not sure if Keith's coming on, so maybe he's going to let me just.
Oh, go ahead, Councilor Nishioka. I have the items up on the screen.
Great, thank you. So the wall, as you can see above, the mural, it was going to be across that wall, and there's I think it's a silo and a water tank. Maybe Keith can correct me, but there's 2 3-dimensional surfaces. And when the mural was originally proposed, those were painted as the mural was behind it. So it would show the cherries, the trees, the sky. There we go. So currently the codes do not permit murals to be painted on 3D surfaces, 3-dimensional surfaces, only flat walls. And the silo and water tank were going to be reflective of what was behind it. So currently, the mural was installed, but the 2 3-dimensional objects could not be included. So I am asking that the city, the staff review the codes and possibly include or have regulations for including 3-dimensional structures.
Thank you, Councilor. Is there Councilor Nordyke?
Thank you. I just want to say this makes all kinds of sense to me. And first of all, I love the mural itself. I think that's gorgeous. But I also think it's appropriate for us to ask staff to come back with some proposed amendments to take this into account. This might be a situation where when they originally were drafting the code, they didn't think about this potential scenario. But that's why it makes perfect sense to have a counselor like Councilor Nishioka bring this forward. So I just wanted to chime in and say, I think it's a great idea, and I support her motion to have the staff come back with proposed amendments. Art makes life better. And there's just a visible impact that comes from having art in visible spaces that everyone can see, where you don't have to buy a ticket to see a closed event. It's available, everyone can see it from the street, and it's a tiny bit of positivity that people don't think about perhaps, but it helps brighten your day. So I'm supportive of moving forward with the motion and seeing what the staff come back with. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. I thought you were going to say that you liked maraschino cherries. That's what I thought you were going to start with. But you said, because I
Who doesn't?
All right, Councilor Stapleton.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And thank you, Councilor Nishioka, for bringing this forward. To me, again, makes all kinds of sense. I really am trying to push for just greater access and an easier ability for folks to come alongside the city and help us beautify our neighborhoods and get more and more public art. And this is one of the hurdles that are in the way and that we found. And that's what we do, right? When we govern, we find things that don't fit anymore, and we make the adjustments to, make it fit our lives better now. So thank you for bringing this forward. Thank you for advocating for this mural and other public art in the city. I really appreciate your work here.
Thank you, Councilor. Is there further discussion?
Can we bring forth that there was written testimony in favor of this by Chris Darcy, past chair of SMAC, and I have her name, the current vice chair. I have my notes here and they're not very good. Oh yes, thank you. Susan Newpack, she's an artist and the vice chair currently of SMAC. And Lynn Takata, chair of NEN, and a statement from NEN Neighborhood Association. I appreciate all those positive feedbacks. I want to apologize for my poor presentation, but I think everybody saw the visual and could understand what it is that we're trying to seek, that staff review the codes, and hopefully this will open up opportunities that some may not have thought about.
I think it was great, Councilor. I think a yes vote will direct staff to go review the codes to see if we can accommodate this thing in the future, and a no vote would keep status quo. So I think that's real straightforward. Is there any other discussion? If the recorder will please call the roll.
Councilor Varney?
Aye.
Councilor Stapleton?
Aye.
Councilor Nishioka?
Aye.
Councilor Phillips absent. Councilor Leung?
Aye.
Councilor Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilor Hoy?
Aye.
Councilor Nordyke?
Aye.
Mayor Hoy?
Aye, motion passes. On to information reports, and we'll just continue with our practice of going in order. So we'll start with item 6A. Are there questions or comments on item 6A? I guess I'll start. I don't see any hands. So Mr. Staley, I would be curious to hear from our librarian, just maybe a quick summary of the strategic plan. I think this is an important document and I would hate for it to go unnoticed or unspoken about at the council meeting. So I would love to hear from our librarian, Kim Carroll, and maybe if she has thoughts, she doesn't have to have thoughts tonight, but if she has thoughts on the public testimony we heard earlier, I would be interested in that. And otherwise we could talk about it another time.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead, Kim.
Yeah, I'm Kim Carroll. I'm the city librarian. We've been working with Coraggio on creating our strategic plan. So we gathered a lot of different information in different ways, surveys. We did a strategic planning retreat. We had our strategic planning committee meet several times and came up with this plan, which included our foundation members, it included lab members, it included counselor members, it included important stakeholders as well as staff. And so we feel really good about this plan and what we're gonna do in the next 5 years. We're in the get moving phase. So what will happen now is Coraggio will meet with staff leaders and our leadership team around each of the 5 imperatives, and then we'll create a framework on how we'll achieve what we're going to in the next 5 years. So we have scheduled 3 2-hour sessions of training for facilitating those groups. So those are going to be made up of staff and be staff led along with our supervisor team. And then as far as the public testimony by Mr. Shepke, I feel kind of, we totally support the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. We've been sitting in on the Early Literacy Hub meetings, on all of the meetings. We've been sending staff there. We've been at our events outside of the library, and when we go to daycares, we promote the program, and we're more than happy to continue promoting the program and signing up, doing what we can to help the program move forward. We're also, hopeful that, something will happen with the legislative part of it. And also excited about the $100 million that was just donated to Dolly Parton for use in support of the Imagination Library and what that will bring. So, we're very optimistic that, we might be able to get more zip codes in Salem in the near future. So does anybody have any questions about the strategic plan?
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Carroll. Councilor Nishioka.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Hoy, and hello, Ms. Carroll. I had a question. I know that the strategic plan, having served on the committee preparing for the strategic plan, was before the bond. But now that the bond has passed and we know that there'll be 2 branch libraries, I'm wondering how you're seeing this fit into the strategic plan, the new branches, or maybe that will be coming up with the continued work it sounds like you're going to be doing. So could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so my understanding is that, in that bond, there's phases of implementation. So the implementation for the branch libraries and will probably come after the 5 years of our strategic plan. But in the meantime, everything that we're going to be doing, building community connections, making our services more equitable and inclusive, creating organizational strength and culture, all of that will prepare us for when we can expand our services in the way of branches.
Great, thank you very much.
Councilor Stapleton.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming here tonight and speaking to us about this. My question was, well, I'll start by saying I read the strategic plan and I agree 100% with everything that's on there. You guys did a lot of work, I know, to get there. So thank you for all the hard work of the group. I also want to say that I have personally noticed an increase in access to literature that is from the focal point of our LGBTQIA+ community. More and more of that in the public library, in the adult section, in the teen section, in the kids section. Thank you so much for making an extra effort for this community. I see it represented. I see the hard work that you guys are doing. Thank you so much. It means a lot to our family. And my question was about the strategic plan. I did not see anything in there, and I don't think it would have been something that maybe would have been written down, but maybe there was a conversation about it, or maybe it's part of this get moving part. But was there any conversation about getting us to 7 days a week?
Well, that is always something that is in the back of our head. How can we expand services? What are our priorities? Are our priorities doing outreach? Are our priorities doing certain programs? Are our priorities having the building open? And all of that is something that, all of those things we need the budget for, right? The most expensive thing for any organization is the staffing. And so we struggle with that just like any other place. We're still trying to get up to full staffing. And we have not been at full staffing since I've been here, which has been about 1.5 years. So I would love to see the library open 7 days a week. Do we have the capacity for that right now? No, honestly. And so how do we get there? I'm not sure yet, but this is hopefully what that planning will do, is to kind of get us a framework of how we get the most service we can get out of the resources that we have.
Great, thank you so much for answering my question.
Are there any other questions or comments on this item? All right, thank you so much for speaking with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Item 6B, the Lansing Neighborhood Association merger with North Lancaster Neighborhood Association. Comments or questions? No. Item 6C, a planning administrative decision. Item 6D, another planning administrative decision. Item 6E, another planning administrative decision. Lisa Anderson Ogilvie is making a lot of decisions. Okay, going once on information reports then. I don't see any hands going up. Then we will move on to ordinances and first readings. Oh, I'm sorry, late hand, Julie. Councilor Hoy.
So sorry about that,
okay.
Mayor Hoy. I just wanted to acknowledge the NOLA merger, the Lansing merger with NOLA. I was at the last meeting, and I just really wanted to take a little public moment to encourage those NOLA neighborhood folks, the Lansing neighborhood folks, to come to the NOLA meetings, because we're all in this together. And Deanna Garcia, who heads up NOLA, is very interested in getting to know the Lansing area. So I just want to make that encouragement to folks. Don't feel like you've been left behind. Feel like you've been invited to something new. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Councilor. I appreciate those thoughts. All right, on to ordinances and our first readings.
Ordinance Bill number 2422, an ordinance declaring certain territory located at 5536 Skyline Road South, annexed to the city of Salem, prescribing Salem area comprehensive plan map designation, prescribing zoning, and withdrawing the territory from the Salem Suburban Rural Fire Protection District.
Councilor Nordyke, do you have a motion?
As a matter of fact, I do. So I vote to advance ordinance bill number 24-22, approving annexation, changing the Salem area comprehensive plan map designation, applying city zoning, and approving withdrawal from the Salem Suburban Rural Fire Protection District for a 1.95 acre territory located at 5536 Skyline Road South to second reading for enactment.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? The recorder will please call the roll.
Councilor Stapleton?
Aye.
Councilor Nishioka?
Aye.
Councilor Phillips absent. Councilor Leung?
Aye.
Councilor Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilor Hoy?
Aye.
Councilor Nordyke?
Aye.
Councilor Varney?
Aye.
Mayor Hoy?
Aye. Motion passes. On to second readings.
Ordinance Bill number 23-22, an ordinance relating to naming an unnamed connection between Rosewood Drive Northwest and Manorview Lane Northwest as Westside Circle Northwest. Councilor Nishioka?
Aye.
Councilor Phillips absent. Councilor Leung?
Aye.
Councilor Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councilor Hoy?
Aye.
Councilor Nordyke?
Aye.
Councilor Varney?
Aye.
Councilor Stapleton?
Aye.
Mayor Hoy?
Aye. Motion passes. Item 7.2B.
Engrossed ordinance bill number 22-22, an ordinance relating to land use amending SRC 58.190, 102.005, 205.030, 260.030, 300.100, 400.065, 510.005, 511.005, 513.005, 514.005, 515.005, 521.005, 0.010, 522.005, 0.010, 0.015, 523.005, 0.010, 0.015, 524.005, 525.005, 530.040, 531.010, 532.015, 533.010, 0.015, 534.010, 0.015, 535.010, 536.010, 537.005, 537.005, 540.005, 541.005, 542.005, 543.005, 544.005, 545.005, 550.010, 551.005, 0.010, 0.015, 552.005, 553.005, 0.010, 554.005, 700.005, 0.081, 0.085, 701.005, 0.010, 0.030, 800.025, 806.005, 0.010, 0.015, 0.025, and 808.030, repealing SRC 700.025 and 030, and creating new provisions SRC 701.016, 041, and SRC Chapter 704. Councillor Phillips absent. Councillor Leung?
Aye.
Councillor Gonzalez?
Aye.
Councillor Hoy?
Aye.
Councillor Nordyke?
Aye.
Councillor Varney?
Aye.
Councillor Stapleton?
Aye.
Councillor Nishioka?
Aye.
Mayor Hoy?
Aye, motion passes. And that concludes our first and second readings. We have nobody signed up under public comment under item number 8. So we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
For more videos and for more information, go to capitalcommunitymedia.org and follow us on social media.